Hello, everyone, and welcome to Discussing Trek. We're here today, to talk all about the latest episodes of Star Trek Lower Decks, Starbase 80, along with of Gods and Angles. I wanna say angels, but angles. And like always, today on this podcast with me, I have none other than Cal Jones. How you doing, sir?
You know what? I am tired, but I'm glad to be here. So always glad to be here with you guys.
Well, I hope it wasn't the Lower Decks that just totally deflated you.
No, I jinxed myself. I said something about it's going to be slow this week because it was
You
Thanksgiving,
did say that. You did say that,
and
and
I jinxed myself.
What
oh
were you
well.
thinking?
Mm. That's
Well,
what that was the problem I was thinking.
also on the podcast we have none other than Larry Irby. How you doing, man?
Doing all right, man.
Glad to have you guys here. Is there anything that you would like to talk about before we get into the review of these past two episodes of Star Trek Lower Decks?
Mm. Well, as of this recording, just a quick shout out. If you're listening to us or watching us in the United States, this is the week of Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
Happy Thanksgiving, folks. And I will say that I did recently attend the Trek Tour Dallas 2 weeks ago, last weekend. So if you're interested to know what I thought about that event, you can definitely check out the feed where I just dropped the video about my thoughts and a few pictures in there. So yeah, check it out. A lot of fun. But we're going to get right into our review of these two episodes, and we're going to start with episode 5, Starbase 80. The crew of the Cerritos returns from a mission on Piskes 9 when Cetatean Ops informs the captain that navigational processing is malfunctioning and the closest station is Starbase 80. The episode was directed by Bob Perez and written by May Darman. And Kyle, if you would go ahead and drop us with the spoiler warning, sir.
Alrighty, so for everyone listening, if you have not seen this episode, put us on pause, go out, watch the episode, come back, because from this moment forward, spoilers.
The spoiler warning has been dropped, and we are back to review this episode. And I'll go back to Mr. Jones for beats, if he has any, for this episode. Mr. Jones, any beats for Starbase 80?
Yes, indeed, 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 indeed. So I'm going to keep it short and simple, but it was awesome. Or I think it's awesome.
Hmm.
The walking decks.
Mm.
Hmm.
I got
I don't get it.
you. What do you mean you don't get it?
The walking deck? Oh, okay, of course. Of
The
course.
walking
Of course.
decks.
Of course. Of course. Got you.
Don't
Got you.
fear the walking decks. Just enjoy the walking decks.
Boo. Larry, what are your high level thoughts on this episode, sir?
This episode it's kind of fun, but it was so like I think a lot of the puns they were going for me didn't land, but
Mm.
I did appreciate, like when they said, "Oh, we don't have warp," going back to the original Star Trek show where they say, "Oh yeah, stuff that would be days away are now years,
Yeah, that
even
was cool.
centuries."
Yeah.
So, and how Mariner was going, "Oh, let's just take the scenic route. Let's just, if it takes 90 years, it takes 90."
Hmm.
yeah. Good stuff there. Cal, high level thoughts before we
All
move
right,
on.
so high level thoughts is once again, it's reminding me that how much this show has grown on me. And the other part, high level thought, is it's a reminder that, yes, even in the Federation, some places get at the bottom of the list. You know, that not everybody is star DS9 and not everybody is fill in the blank. Some places are the outliers, are not important for whatever reason. Not that they're not important, but you get my point. So those are the two big takeaways I took.
That might be the biggest problem I have with the episode. is we'll get into it, but my high level thoughts is that I thought it was a interesting look on what could be if the Federation were to neglect something that they owned. I also think it was just a big play for Easter egg nostalgia throughout the entire episode, which I thought a lot of it was cool, but we'll talk it out. I'm still not quite sure how I feel about the episode. I think I liked it, but maybe you guys can talk me up just a little bit. So we'll go right back to the thing you just mentioned, Cal. What do you think about the idea of the Federation space station suffering from neglect in the Star Trek universe?
Is even though this is a comedy, is this really just a dose of reality? Because I'm sorry, as great as the Star Trek concept is, and I don't mean this to sound like I'm being negative, but I'm just trying to think of it in a realistic way. There are only so many resources that Starfleet has or the Federation has at their disposal. So what I mean by that is if there's only so much resources are finite, there has to be something at the lower end. Now, did they play it up for laughs that make this a little bit more dramatically lower end? Then yeah, that's what they do. But not that I agree with the concept, but I do like the fact that not everything in Federation is pristine.
Mm. What about you, Larry?
Um, I enjoyed the most of the episode, but I would say probably if the Federation, I mean, you've got places like that. That's one of the reasons, the things I think that made a show like The Expanse so great is that you got to see not everybody has, or what's another show? Because this was brought up to me about this episode, somebody who watched it. They said it'd be like Firefly, where yeah,
Mm.
you have all the shiny new toys, ray guns, healers on there, but then out at the far planets, people are riding horses and using guns.
Mm.
So this was like, to me, I'm gonna say it. I hate to say it. Star Trek Online. They've actually, I swear, they've got an exact game scenario that's this, where you go to this base and this base is just kind of falling apart.
Mm. All right, so let me throw this back at you. Could our view, and when I say our, I'm saying the collective consciousness of Star Trek fandom, could we be jaded, or maybe not necessarily jaded, but looking at it through rose-colored glasses? Because if we're following the Enterprise around in whatever form the Enterprise is, of course we're going to see the best and the brightest for the most part because this is the flagship.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but for me, it's just hard for me to wrap my head around a place that the Federation would have their name on and own and allowed to. Of course, it's a cartoon, and they're going to the
Yeah.
extreme example of this, but it's just hard for me to grok in my mind that they will allow something to go to such waste. I mean, usually they decommission stuff that's not in use anymore of any value, so to keep the station around and for it to look like crap and um, so much about the station, and we learn in the episode that the station isn't fully run by the Federation; is run by the Akamarians as well. So that's a little bit part of it as well. But for me, also, it felt like was just an opportunity to have a huge Easter egg slash nostalgia trip for the whole episode.
Mm.
Because even though it was run down, we got a lot of cool um, Kirk era callbacks in scenery, in the way the turbo lift, even the bridge of the station. A lot of things in the episode were callbacks to the Kirk era of
Mm.
Star Trek. So to me, it was almost just an excuse. I guess that's why I didn't love it, because to me, it was just almost an excuse to have that stuff in the episode.
All right, so let me throw this really, really quick, and then I'll let this topic lie on my end. It reminded me also of all these hotel chains like Hilton, Hyatt, all these Marriott that purchase these hotels, and they put their name on them, but that's
Mm.
it. they're not really run, but they take credit of being, oh, this is a Hilton hotel, this is a
Yeah.
Marriott, but they don't really own them. And that's kind of what this reminded me of too.
I've
Yeah.
got,
Go ahead,
I've got
Larry.
one. So here's one. You want a realistic version of this one instead of a comedic version? Somewhat. Strange New Worlds. The end of season one, when they were going to that base to offer, upgrade their systems and
Yeah.
everything. And remember, the commander said, how are you going to do this, this, and this? And Captain Pike explained, and he's like, that's everything I've been asking for. So think about
Yeah.
it. They're way out there at the tail end of Federation space. And so nobody's saying they're like it's like that base, but realistically, they probably don't have like the best stuff. I remember in one of the books where Kurt and them actually get back from their 5-year mission, and all the uniforms, everybody else is wearing the movie uniforms, Star Trek the motion picture. And they're like, oh, those are the new uniforms? Yeah, y'all, you didn't get those?
We've been gone.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. It does make some sense, but to me, just a level of decrepitness, if that's a word, it's just a little
Well,
extreme.
like you
But
said, they were going to go to the ridiculous amount. I mean,
yeah. Uh,
But could you say it was a success and a storyline point that we're having a deep conversation about a comedic cartoon?
yeah,
yes,
I
I
think it was successful.
But some things that I think were not successful, I'll include the Enterprise esque decontamination scene. They could have just beamed aboard. Come on now, that was just an excuse to have the Jill play a part of the story and have the Enterprise decontamination scene. That was just totally useless to me.
And I am all for it. You know why? Because it
What?
was dumb from the beginning. And this is somebody who loves
It
Star
it
Trek
it it
Enterprise.
made sense.
That was a dumb
Dude.
scene
Okay, I can go to
from
bat
the
for this one.
get go.
It wasn't spicy, yes, but it made sense in the context of we don't have transporters. We have to decontaminate manually once we come onto the ship. It made sense in that era. Here, it doesn't make sense because they said, "Oh, the station's transporters are malfunctioning." They could have used these transporters off the Cerritos. It made no sense for them to go through this whole thing.
But Clarence, they're making fun
I
of
know what they're
that
doing.
because that was
I know what they're
stupid.
doing.
Because
It was awesome.
they just wanted to get everybody in their undies on a
Hey,
Star
I'm not
Trek
going to
show.
complain about the contamination scene with Jolene Blaylock. I'm not going to complain about it. I
I'm gonna
thought it was.
complain. I'm gonna complain because that was ridiculous, and I'm glad they made fun of it.
I'm gonna
Good.
say, see Windgrace's music video he did all about this scene. It is freaking hilarious. You should definitely
I gotta
check it
see
out.
that. I haven't
Oh,
seen it.
go! I will find a link later. You should definitely go watch it. Maybe he'll drop it in the chat. Go watch that video because it's great. Let's talk about Cassian Knox, diplomatic liaison slash commander of the station, LRN as well. What do we think about her in this episode?
Mm. Nothing really on my end other than I wondered if they were trying to give a nod to Discovery with the uniforms, talking about uniforms, but as far as the concept of the character, I, I,
Yeah,
nah.
well, the
I
uniforms were another Enterprise nod.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it reminded me more of the Discovery era, right?
no
Well,
Enterprise.
yeah, Enterprise. Those Enterprise
Oh yeah,
uniforms.
okay, got you.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Larry?
I actually forgot who that was until you just now.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I had to think. I went, who was that? Oh, the girl, the lady who was with Mariner.
yeah, kind of
Okay,
showing them around.
so she reminded me of somebody I work with who's like super bubbly and always, no, hey, everything fell down. Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, how can
He's
you be
got
so
it.
chill? This is
Like,
going to hell in a handbasket here. Like, But yeah,
I,
I like the fact that she was a young Elorian. I thought that was pretty cool, and yeah, yeah, I think I
that
like
now
the ca-
that was a great joke. She's
yeah.
like, so you're like hundreds and hundreds. You're nah, I'm like 30. It's like, okay.
You're just a regular person.
So maybe if she is so bubbly, it's the fact that she's basically a toddler in their years.
Yeah,
Maybe,
that's true.
maybe,
What
but yeah.
about I've always thought that about Vulcans too. It's like where you say if wow, you're Vulcan, you're like, what, you 100, 120. Nah, man, I'm 23. It's like,
Oh, okay. Let's talk about Gene Jakubowski real quick. That was the engineer guy that, to me, a lot of this episode was just needlessly silly, and he is giving Freeman the runaround, and they're trying to find him to try to get their part fixed so they can actually get on their way. But he wants help from them because the station again is just in shambles. So he's kind of sending them all over the station. I wondered the name Gene. Did his character kind of look like Gene Roddenberry? I don't
little
know. If,
bit.
yeah, like were they trying to throw a jab at? Uh,
I tell you what, that character, that stick wore thin quick. And I knew he was the guy in charge. I knew it. I said, okay.
mhm,
After the second thing, I went, okay, he's the guy in charge.
mm. Yeah, Cal, I have to say, if there was a audio drama version of this that we ever did, you would be Gene because I believe you could put that voice. I thought of you every time I heard Gene speak. I really
Why?
did.
I have to know why.
I,
I don't know when you do your Colonel Sanders voice. I think
I,
you have Gene vibes.
I don't know how I feel about that, Kyle.
Well, I declare.
Hey, at least he didn't say, "Well, I thought that because you annoyed me."
No, 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 no.
You
I
make
don't
me roll my eyes 9 times out of 10.
Uh,
I don't think Kyle on his worst days with a Game of Thrones hex could be that incompetent as that guy.
So, Cal, you mentioned zombies up top. Strong zombie vibes.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. I mean, I was getting Walking Dead vibes of I'm going to sacrifice myself so that everyone else can live. Or, yeah, very much. I mean, as soon as I saw that, I was like, the Walking Decks, it's got to be.
yeah, I wonder if we've seen anything so direct. Oh, the Walking Decks, I love it. But I wonder if we've had anything so directly compared to zombies in Trek thus far. Because to me, this is just like almost just directly their version of zombies in this episode.
Me, while we're watching the opening credits to Enterprise.
Yeah.
Stop
Hey,
it!
I
Stop it!
still love the doctor who was half what remember that the episode where LaForge nearly turned and his other former shipmates had all turned
Oh yeah, yeah.
and that
Uh,
was like they
was it
always got it.
Tarchanian parasite or whatever it was called?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what they did with the doctor in this episode, he almost looks almost exactly like Beverly Crusher, except it's a dude and he's half um to parasite infested, I guess. Like he had the same hair, he's wearing the same coat. Like, really? Okay, I guess.
I love that line talking about what you said you could barely notice.
They
Yeah.
lied, bro. They lied. But yeah, and eventually the crew of the Cerritos helps fix the station, which good on them. I
I
actually go ahead.
I got one. This is a deep dive into the book. This one reminded me just loosely on like the book. There's a book called Imzadi, and it's like a futuristic book where Wesley Crusher is the captain of the USS Hood, and Riker is an admiral of a base that's like kind of considered the back. I won't say it was falling apart like this, of course, but it was considered like that's where you sing you when you've kind of screwed up.
Yeah,
It's like your rank they can't put you anywhere else, so they stick you on this base.
which is kind of a trope they keep using in Star Trek.
They do.
Yeah, and then like I thought supposedly um, DS9 was supposed to be frontier medicine out there in the middle of nowhere. But I mean, it seemed fine. It was better than this station.
You remember that line, man? Goodness.
But Wintergrade saying they had an Enterprise episode called Impulse that was a zombie esque episode. I got to go back and watch that one. I do not remember at all.
Really? I'm gonna have to look that up too.
All right, guys. Anything else about Starbase 80 that I didn't bring up that you want to mention before we move along? Well, let's move along, and I'm gonna have to rely on some TOS knowledge from you on this one, Larry, for some of the background of gods and angels. The Cerritos hosts
Angles.
peace talks between warring civilizations. Thoughts on this episode? Let's start with you, Larry.
I thought this episode was rather bland.
Hmm.
Got to be honest,
Hmm.
because that was one reason I rewatched. I went, "Is that episode right?" Yeah, okay.
Mm.
But not that it was bad or anything. All their episodes are meant, they're funny, but you know,
What about you, Cal?
Okay, so I do have a beat for this one.
Let's hear it, sir.
Squario, Squario, wherefore art thou, Squario? But anyway,
We're feeling the same vibes on this one for
yeah.
sure.
Uh, I really enjoyed this, to be honest with you. I think I actually liked this one a little bit better than I liked the first one, mainly because of, once again, it's showing the character growth of Mariner. So if I had to say which did I like the better out of the two, this one by far.
Mm.
mm,
For me, I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of a toss up. I think on this one, I think the A plot was a solid A plot. The B plot was crap. And they've been doing this in a few episodes for me lately
mm.
where I think the B plot is just totally useless. Let's just start with that because the whole Boimler thing to try to recreate alts, his alt character's existence. He's growing the beard. We see it grow out even more in this episode. And everybody's knowledge acknowledges that we know you have the pad, dude. We know that you're trying to recreate this other Boimler's life to try to see if you can get where he is, of course, because he's had command of the Cerritos 3 times or whatever. I just found this storyline with he and trying to get on Tiana's good side. I just thought it was dumb. I just hated it.
Agreed, and I was hoping by the end that they were going to resolve it, but I don't think they did. But I I think it made Boimler look really dumb, for lack of a better word, because when they start showing the interactions between him and the doctor in the other alternate reality, it's all about perception
Yeah.
because she did not come across as being lovey-dovey and really respectful of him. It was just the same thing. It was just, I think, how he was interpreting it, which again makes it look dumb on his part.
Yeah, it's like he's just looking at it as a checklist. She has to call me this flip. It was a flip. She has to call me a certain name, and she has to invite me to hit her
Book
book
club.
club. Which I don't know. I just thought the whole thing was dumb. And then we're gonna get into Ollie, but the whole lightning bolt in the butt. I'm like, really, really, is this what
Mm.
we're doing, lower decks? Okay, I guess this is what we're doing.
At least they didn't go because they were kind of looking at it, and yeah, I'm going to go here. It was kind of like the lightning bolts were having a little bit of performance issues.
Okay,
Mm.
okay.
I like us. This
Well, I
ep-
mean,
this episode was just one of those where I literally just like I'm gonna do the dishes while I'm watching this.
Mm,
It
mm.
was, and I hate to be that because I hate because we always try to be positive, even if it's something we don't like. But I would. This was just so forget. Like I thought it was gonna be cool at first, the Spears, because everybody remembers that great Next Generation episode
Yeah.
where they have the two sides. Everybody remembers Journey to Babel
Yep.
and how cool it was.
Yep.
And this was just like,
It was a very superficial version of that in a lot of ways. Although I think they did put their spin on it with the whole Romeo Juliet thing in the
yeah,
episode as well, which
that was
I
the
thought that was
only.
interesting. That was very interesting.
But could you not see that? Let's be honest. Did you not see that coming a mile away though?
I think as soon as we knew the other character was missing, then I started to think that. But I didn't.
Mhm.
I didn't know for sure. What about you, Cal?
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
Mm,
Yeah,
I absolutely said.
I mean,
Us,
when yeah, as soon as they said somebody was missing, yes, absolutely, I felt like, oh yeah, they're out making geometric shapes somewhere.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I said this is going to be because how can you resist a round and a square? Of course, there's going to be two members of each species that fall in love. Of course, there is.
yeah, but I think they did a lot of other interesting things in this episode as far as the whole murder mystery thing part of it. I thought was semi interesting. You know, you had the good cop, bad cop aspect as well, which again I thought was interesting enough because I enjoyed the A plot. I thought it was interesting enough, even on top of all the silliness of it as well. Um, so let's talk about Ensign Ollie, our resident demagogue. Uh, and so we've kind of done this before in different ways. And help me out here. I know there was episode when Q became human. There was an episode where Q's son was on the Voyager. Am I missing any other? There was another episode where Q was a regular human in TNG. I can't remember the episode name, but but thoughts on Demagogue being a or godlike figure being a member of a Starfleet crew.
Have we ever seen that before?
Well, I mean, in those instances I just mentioned where Q was demoted, there was again his son on Voyager.
And
I
then there
think
was the girl
yeah, the
who was
girl.
who her parents were Qs
Yeah,
that decided to live as humans, which the Qs got some crazy fascination with humans.
yeah.
And she was and the Q killed them
Hmm.
apparently, which we'll get into that because that's a problem in other episodes. But yeah, I just remember that episode. That one stands out to me.
Hmm. Interesting.
When Gray saying the sister from the Wonder Years didn't know she was a Q. I think that's the same one you're talking about, Larry.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the one.
Yeah,
I forgot she's from the Wonder Years, right?
I didn't know she was Wonder Years either.
Man, that
uh,
episode's old though.
yeah, but I think the idea of them playing with that was interesting, and of course, Larry, you say you and Kyle as well said that you immediately knew about the whole hookup connection baby thing. I instantly knew that Ollie was the one causing all these mishaps because of her charge. We like see it when we first see the character and she's building this tower on the lift to move some stuff around. We see her have a little spark. So um, kind of interesting that they didn't figure that out sooner. She's hiding her powers, but be that as it may, I thought that I think I like the character, and it's going to be interesting to see her. I hopefully continue on the rest. You know what? 4 episodes left. See if we're going to get any more of her.
I almost felt like she was their what's our girl on Strange New Worlds, the engineer, Ellie,
Oh,
Pelly,
Pelia.
Pelia.
Yeah.
That she felt like a lot of Pelia energy.
Mm.
Hmm. That's weird. I mean, interesting. Not weird, but interesting because I didn't feel that. I got more of not Boiler Mariner at the beginning because I
Mm.
saw some parallels. Because I hope I'm not jumping ahead too far, but at the end when she's put in the brig, I want to go back and watch the very first episode because I was getting first episode vibes almost to a T. It was just like deja vu that this was almost the same thing that Mariner said when she got put in the brig, I think in the first or second
Yeah,
episode.
yeah. I think they were trying to parallel that a little bit.
Uh, I love the fact that Mariner was basically like, "Oh God, I can fix her. This was me. I can fix it."
Yeah, and that goes to the growth Kyle was talking about earlier. Is Mariner this season? I think in a large part has really been the Mariner we've been expecting. Well, we wanted from the beginning. I mean, she's still silly, but she's also, I think, at this point, a really great officer, and I'm really enjoying that. But it's weird. Really enough, it seems like Boimler is digressing a
Hmm.
little bit.
I
Yeah,
think he's gonna have that where they're gonna just say, "Dude, you just need to be like Rutherford." Rutherford even said to him, like, "Bruh," he's like, "Oh, and then I have to do this, and then I can be like him, or you could just be yourself."
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
maybe they're building toward the finale where it's him making a decision of doing his own thing versus doing what the pad says, and he has to decide to save everyone. I have to do my own thing. I wouldn't be surprised if
yeah.
that doesn't happen.
Yeah, and I have to say, for me, in these past two episodes, I was a bit disappointed that we didn't go back to the alt universe stuff any. At least that I noticed in these past two episodes. I thought that would be a bit more prevalent um, in this season. So yeah, maybe I'm hoping in the next few episodes they jump into that just a little bit more.
Yeah, we'll hope. I hope so.
And the title of the next episode, episode 7, is brace yourselves,
Mm,
fully dilated.
okay.
Now,
All
of
right.
course,
Oh boy. No
they
stone unturned.
none.
Let's go ahead and give our ratings for these two episodes. Well, we can do a collective rating for them both.
Mm.
Um, Cal, let's start with you, man. What is your combined rating for Starbase 80 and Of Gods and Angels?
I am going to give this 4 zombie squares out of 5 combined rating
For zombie squares
out of 5.
out of 5 from Mr. Jones. Um, Larry, how would you rate this one, sir?
I am going to give it 4 corn dogs.
Oh, we didn't talk about the corn dog guy.
See, you're sleeping on the corn dogs, man.
Oh, these vendor
Four corn dogs out of 5.
He was just trying not to be corny.
yeah, vendors all through the space station. Come
No,
on, man.
I'm
Come on.
definitely being corny.
I know.
I will give this, and I'm gonna stay on track with you guys here. I'm going to give this 4 God lightning bolts out of 5, but not where the sun don't shine.
Mm.
We got a comment from Tasha here saying that I think the pad is full of imaginary stuff the alt universe Boimler wishes were true. Fully dilated? Question mark. Orion Sis must be about to give birth. Oh, see, I did not go there. I was going in a
Yeah,
totally other weird place, but that makes so much more
that's
sense.
true. The Erica could be having the baby.
Mm,
Mm.
cool beans. So, yeah, Win Grace is seconding that a bit. Orion birth, but I also think the double meaning with time. Yeah, that's what I was thinking a little bit. Time
Fully
dilation, or the rift being
something.
fully open or fully dilated.
Something.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe it's gonna be like you're gonna be jumping back and forth between the two scenarios. But yeah,
Mm.
that makes a lot of sense. So this might be where the floodgates open, no pun intended, and we get
Oh,
all of
dude,
the
you had this states really.
and we get all the universe stuff flowing in.
Bum, bum, bum.
All right, guys, in the chat, how did you rate this episode? Drop it in the chat. Let us know. Anything else you guys want to talk about these two episodes before we wrap up and get out of here, or anything else that you might want to plug or mention before we wrap things up?
Mm. I will mention if you're a fan of space sci fi comedy, season 6 of Oz 9 is off to an excellent start. So check us out at oz-9.com.
Cool beans. What about you, Larry? Anything?
That just enjoying the new Dune series, man.
I have not
Oh,
started it, man. Is it worth
it's
jumping in?
bro, bro. You know how cheap I am, Clarence. Do you know how hard it was for me to press that button and re up Max?
Don't
I'm
face me.
still gonna say HBO Max because Max is just dumb. But the HBO Max, you know how hard that was? But it was worth it. This season
Mm,
of this show is what I wish House of Dragons season 2 had been.
mm. Okay. That's fair enough. Fair enough. I'm so behind on all the good stuff that everybody's watching. I haven't started that. I got to go back and watch The Penguin, which I heard is fantastic. So yeah, I'm really behind on
There
a
you
lot of
go.
good
And
stuff.
see, that's another one. Oh, and everybody should go watch Tasha's channel. Tasha's been dropping some amazing content.
Yeah. So Tasha is unwrapped now. So correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, Tasha. The show has shifted a little bit to more um, pop culture commentary, news and commentary
Yep.
now. So if you want to stay apprised of all the latest happenings in the world that are pop culture worthy, you should definitely check out her channel. It's a lot of fun and some good informative things on her channel.
And I'm going to look at Win Grace's thing as soon as we finish.
So Tasha gives this episode 3.5 out of 5 horrible storylines. Oh, Tasha wasn't feeling it. She wasn't feeling it. And Wingraves gives this 4 out of 5 SB80s. Oh, I'm sorry. 4 out of 5 on Starbase 80 and 2.5 out of 5 on Angles. Wow. Man.
Wow, Win
I think
Grace.
that's the lowest lower deck score I've ever seen from him, but cool, cool, cool. Yeah. The love is
He,
not there, man.
I think Win Grace failed geometry.
It
It was,
was too confusing.
he was a little
Angles,
upset.
circle, yeah, yeah. And then, one of my favorite lines of the episode. And we're for the wrap, but one of my favorite lines is when they combine, and Marino's like, "Oh, they're just a bigger circle." Because I was expecting some like Voltron stuff, some Power Rangers. Nope, they just got bigger. But anyway, thanks for joining each and every one of you guys. We really appreciate it.